Hi, Jeffrey. This is pretty close. Ideally, you don't want these shadows here. So what you might do for future reference is raise your light more and shoot down. That minimizes the shadows. If you raise your light more and maybe set up some reflectors beneath the camera to bounce more light into the lower area if need be. Now, what's going on here? You're almost there, except you're losing definition right along this edge here. See that? So what you would have to do, the simplest solution is to flag a little bit of light off the background. So looking at your lighting setup, there are one of two ways you can do this. You can try either just shooting through the cone and putting diffusion material on the cone, and that'll control the light better and point it more at the product, the hero, less the background. You see, the rule of thumb is the difference between the background and the product, the hero, shouldn't be more than a stop. That's the rule of thumb. If it starts getting down to half a stop, it starts looking muddy, like you have here on your contact sheet. See, I mean, you got good definition here, but it's starting to look muddy. You're not getting white. See, the definition here is good. But you want white. So let's go back to the beginning here. So the solution would be to either, here, look at this. Flag light, you can flag light away. You can use a cone with the diffusion material on it, or you can keep using the umbrella, but you got to flag some light away from the hero. So you set up a black board, a black artboard next to the light, and kind of shadow it, dither it to see if you can just tone down the hotness in the background. See, it's a little hot here. So that would be the simplest solution. Flag it away from the background, then you get a little more definition here. This area is good. This area is good. The white on white here starts to disappear. On this side, it's good. On this side, you're barely hanging in there. So you want to just tone that down a little bit. And of course, raise the light more, shoot down more to minimize this shadow, and increase the fill light so that the shadow gets softer or almost disappears. When they talk about 1-to-1, that's what they're talking about in the lectures. They talk about 1-to-1 to background. That's not the right way to go. Product to background is kind of 2-to-1 or 1-to-2, whichever way you want to look at it. It's 1-to-1 key to fill, so that you have very little shadow or none. Well, I mean, you did a good job of softening your shadow, but ideally you want to minimize it even more. So shoot up, go up, and shoot down. You may even consider, well, you don't really need much modeling because it's a package with a color on it. You might consider angling it a little less. You can angle it a little bit for the sake of a little bit of drama, but angle it a little less and raise the light more, shoot down, and that'll fill in the shadows a little better. And at the same time, you want to flag it off the background. You got to find a way to keep it off the background. So one way is maybe move this further back. You don't have that much room, but you can move it up a little more. No, I didn't mean back. Move it forward. Move it further from the background. Move it up a little bit. Okay, here. You can move it. You have room here. You can move it up. All right, Jeffrey. One other thing. See, one principle which every photographer should grasp, you have basically a large light source here. A large light source gives off diffuse, uncontrolled light. You want a smaller, specular light source that hits more product and less background. But be careful. You want to see it's a very careful ratio. It can be no less a difference than half a stop. Probably around 3/4 to a full stop. Maybe you can go a little bit over a full stop. But take your light meter and see how the light's hitting the background and the foreground. And it's probably not the foreground, the product. And it's probably not a bad idea to tether to a laptop which actually you've done. You did that. I don't have it here on the screen, but you apparently did photograph a histogram. Although that doesn't necessarily mean you tethered. Try tethering and see if that helps you. All right, Jeffrey. But you're getting there. You've come a long way. All right. So I'll leave it at that, and I will talk to you in week 5. Okay. Take care.